Hey guys, Darcy here. Today I want to go over modes and warp settings in Luna. It is crucial to know these if you're doing hip hop production and you are doing things like, changing the tempo on a regular basis and just how these play into it, okay? So let's jump into the computer, okay? First off, let's look at what we have here. We have 4 tracks of drums, and then a vocal sample, and then a melodic sample, okay? The samples are muted right now. We'll get into that in a second. I also want to mention that the BPM is 120, all right? So let's take a listen to these drums right now on their own, okay? And I want to call out that the mode setting is on time, and the warp setting is on polyphonic, okay? So let's take a listen. Sounds pretty good. These are all composed at 120 BPM, okay? So now let's go and switch these up to 150 and see what happens. All right, when I switch that, all of my tracks shift in time because they're not locked into the mode of tempo. They're locked in time, which means that when I play this at different BPM, it'll all sound fine right now, but it's technically playing out of time. If I put the metronome on, which apparently is not going to play. Oh, I think it's for when you record. Anyways, I don't use metronome often, clearly. So anyways, if we listen to this, essentially what's happening is that it's not playing at the right tempo. So let's backtrack this, right? Bring it back to 120. Now let's lock all this into the time mode of tempo. We're not going to mess with warp for a second, okay? So let's click play. Right, everything sounds normal. So let's bring this up to 150. All right, sounds pretty good. Actually, I'm going to back up for a second. I'm going to switch these also to the mode of tempo because I forgot to. Okay, now let's bring this back to 150. Okay, so when we listen to those drums, we notice that they lose some of their punch, okay? Especially in the kick. If we were to switch this to a different mode, like monophonic, and let's actually go over this quickly. Polyphonic is going to switch the warp by trying to, as you switch your tempo, respect that there are multiple different pitches of instruments being played at the same time. So you play a piano with chords, there are multiple pitches being played at the same time, multiple keys. Monophonic is trying to stretch something that only has basically one pitch throughout the entire thing. Vari-Speed basically does what old vinyl record players would do. You switch up the speed and then the pitch shifts with it. Razorblade, we'll get back to that 1 second. Luna polyphonic, same idea as the main polyphonic. Okay, now Razorblade is specifically for drums. It's trying to respect the transient and play the sample back faster or slower without changing as much of its pitch. So let's listen to polyphonic, and I'm going to switch this between each as we go, and then I'm going to go back and focus on the Razorblade. So let's listen real quick. Okay, so basically the two polys sound similar. Monophonic starts to sound robotic in a little bit, doesn't stretch properly, and Vari-Speed just sounds like it's pitching it up. So let's focus on Razorblade against polyphonic, your default for drums. So let's listen to polyphonic. It sounds good, but it sounds thinner than this. It sounds like with Razorblade, and this is what it's doing, speeding it up while keeping it close to its original. It's as if you were to go into each individual kick and you basically go and you change your tempo, and then you go and take each individual sound and then replace it appropriately on the time, or you'd open a new session with at 150 BPM and then you'd build the same drum pattern. It doesn't just shift it and then lose its tonality. It stays pretty much nearly the same, and that's what's beautiful about it. Okay, now when we bring in other samples, we can go in and try to mess with some of these settings to see what happens. Okay, so let's listen to this one.
Yeah man, yeah man, yeah man, yeah man, man, yeah man, yeah man, yeah man, yeah man.
And this sample's at 120. So let's go back and listen to it at its original.
Yeah man, yeah man, yeah man, yeah man, yeah man, yeah.
Got an idea. So now I go back to 150 just so you can hear what it did to it.
Yeah man, yeah man, yeah man, yeah man, man.
So it's speeding it up. It's also changing a little bit of its tonality. So if we switch to monophonic.
Yeah man, 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 yeah man.
So this is kind of rap-like, and I think sometimes when you're not singing, the switching of the pitching sometimes sounds better monophonic, but I don't find this always be the case. It's kind of a per case basis. Now let's listen to Varispeed.
Yeah man, 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 yeah man.
It's like a vinyl record, okay, which is really dope. So let's listen to this at like 90 BPM.
Yeah man, yeah man, yeah man, yeah man, man.
Again, it's like that vinyl record, okay? So we get options there. And then we also have another sample we can throw into here. So let's bring this back to 120. This is like a piano sample.
Yeah man, yeah man, yeah man, yeah man, man. Yeah man, yeah man, yeah man, yeah man. Yeah man, yeah man, yeah man, yeah man, man.
So when I switch to monophonic there, I just want to do that and surprise you. It doesn't sound good. And that's because we're essentially taking something that is a polyphonic sound and trying to stretch it with monophonic. So if we listen to it on its own, it's trying to squash all those, like, it's trying to choose like one frequency or one part of the pitches that it's creating and use that one sound, and it's not going to work. Then we go Varispeed. Get that same vinyl vibe. So if you take something and you want to change its timing and you want its pitch to go with it, then that's where you want to use Varispeed on this.
Yeah man, yeah man, yeah man, yeah man, man. Yeah man, yeah man, yeah man, yeah man. Yeah man, yeah man, yeah man, yeah man.
Right, so that's how we get the vinyl sound. So if we go like, we'll say 150, compare polyphonic, it's just going to be faster of the same pitch.
Yeah man, yeah man, yeah man, yeah man, man. Yeah man, yeah man, yeah man, yeah man.
But we go Varispeed.
Yeah man, yeah man, yeah man, yeah man, man. Yeah man, yeah man, yeah man, yeah man.
Oh, that pulled down way faster. I thought I'd go slower. Let's go like 80, 90.
Yeah man, yeah man, yeah man, yeah man, man.
Now 90's original sounds really good there, so let's go a little slower.
Yeah man, yeah man, yeah man, yeah man, man. Yeah man.
Let's get that chop and screw, and then if let's say we want to like double time these hats, so we're going to place that there. I'm gonna zoom in on this. Yeah, just double time them, so we can get that like 140. 148.5, but with 74 BPM.
Yeah man, yeah man, yeah man, yeah man.
Didn't work out. Whatever. Anyway, you get the idea. You can play with these things. Understanding these settings can matter. Can get you the sound that you're looking for. They're simple things. Understanding that the tempo and the time switching is important for keeping things on the grid, and that razor blade helps you make sure that it's not stretching it in a way that you don't want, or to play around and come up with ideas that you maybe haven't had up until that point, until you hear it and you're like, that's interesting. Anyways, hopefully you found this helpful. If you did, like, comment, and let me know if there's other things in Luna that you would like me to dive into and explain. Anyways, hopefully you found this helpful, guys. Peace, and I'm out. Bye.